I think the most important skill that a congressperson can have is the ability to listen, because this is one of the most selfless jobs, if done right, that you can have in the federal government. Your job is, while the folks in your district are at work and they're putting food on the table and a roof over their families' heads, your job is to represent their interests. They don't have the time to vote on the budget or war resolutions or continuing funding resolutions. They need you to be unapologetic and bold in your advocacy for their interests. And one of the things that I've learned during this campaign is that you can go into this campaign with issues that motivated you and that are your North Star and remain your North Star, but the job is to make your community's priorities your priorities. And so I started this campaign talking about criminal justice reform and climate and trying to reduce the brain drain here in Louisiana, and those are still things that motivate me. But now, here in August, I find myself, in Baton Rouge talking about the windfall elimination provision, or talking about finishing the Comeet River Diversion Canal so that we can stop flooding in the northern part of East Baton Rouge Parish. In central Louisiana, I find myself talking about making sure that I'm a strong supporter of the Farm Bill when it comes up for reauthorization, making sure that I'm a supporter of irrigation subsidies or rural broadband. And in North Louisiana, I was just up there learning more about their housing crisis. They just had mass evictions. The biggest part of the job is to go into a community and, one, be willing to acknowledge that you don't have all the answers, that you don't know everything. No matter who gets elected, you didn't come from all over the district, you came from a part of the district. So it's your responsibility to make sure that you are not only getting familiar with their issues, but that you are making those relationships in the district where when something's happening, you know who to call to be able to ask, what's going on? Where's the pain? How is this happening? What do people want me to fight for when I go to D.C.? And that's been part of the learning process of campaigning. That's why it's so important to actually campaign. That's why you should not vote for somebody who's not on the campaign trail. Because if they don't respect the process, they're not going to respect the job. And the job is to represent the community's interests. Now look, I'm not going to say that we're all going to have the same ideology. I'm a Democrat. There are a lot of Republicans in this district. But the interests remain the same. How I address your interests may be different than the way you might or the way that Garrett Graves might have done it. But your interests remain the same. And so your interests become my top priorities.